You don't belong here, sweetie. First class is for people who actually pay their way." That was the last thing Keely, the senior flight attendant, said before she ripped my boarding pass in half and threw the confetti pieces in my face. She thought she was protecting the sanctity of her precious cabin from a girl in a hoodie. She thought she had all the power. But she didn't know two things. One, that hoodie cost more than her car. And two, the name on the ticket she just destroyed. It matches the name painted on the side of this airplane. Today, Keely learns that you never judge a passenger by their cover, especially when her father owns the fleet. The fluorescent hum of JFK's Terminal 4 was usually enough to induce a migraine, but today Maya Sterling was too exhausted to care. She adjusted the strap of her battered leather duffel bag, a vintage piece from Italy that looked worn to the untrained eye, but was virtually priceless, and pulled the hood of her oversized grey sweatshirt further over her head. It had been a brutal semester at Stanford. Finals week had consisted of 4 days without sleep, 3 gallons of iced coffee, and a final thesis on macroeconomic disparities that had drained the last ounce of her social battery. All she wanted was to get on Aerolux Flight 882 to London, curl up in seat 1A, and sleep until the wheels touched the tarmac at Heathrow. She wasn't trying to be noticed. In fact, invisibility was Maya's preferred state. Being the only daughter of Reginald Sterling, the billionaire tycoon who had acquired Aerolux 3 years ago and turned it into the premier transatlantic carrier, came with baggage she didn't like to carry. She preferred the anonymity of sweatpants and no makeup. Maya approached Gate 42. The boarding area was divided into 2 distinct worlds. On the left, a chaotic sea of weary travelers wrestled with crying toddlers and overstuffed carry-ons waiting for economy boarding. On the right, a velvet rope cordoned off a plush crimson carpet leading to the first-class podium. Standing guard at that podium, like a sentinel of snobbery, was Keely Fox. Keely was a legend at Aerolux, but not for the reasons one might hope. With her hair pulled back so tight it seemed to pull her eyelids upward, and a uniform tailored to within an inch of its life, she looked immaculate. She was the lead purser, the queen of the cabin. She was also, according to the whispers in the break room, the meanest woman to ever wear the silver wings. Keely didn't just check tickets, she judged souls. Maya stepped onto the crimson carpet. She was the first one there, 30 minutes before boarding, just wanting to sit in the quiet lounge area reserved for first class. Keely looked up from her computer screen. Her eyes heavily lined with dark makeup swept over Maya. She saw the messy bun, the baggy grey hoodie, the loose sweatpants, and the sneakers that looked a bit scuffed. She didn't see the person. She saw an intruder. "Excuse me," Keely said, her voice dripping with a sickly sweet condescension that was colder than liquid nitrogen. "The line for Group 5 is over there against the wall. You're blocking the carpet." Maya paused, blinking tiredly. She pulled her headphones down around her neck. "I'm sorry." "Economy," Keely said, pointing a manicured finger toward the mass of people on the left. "This is the priority lane, for first class and Diamond Medallion members only. Please move." Maya sighed. She dealt with this often, but usually she had the energy to be charming about it. Today she just reached into her pocket. "I know. I'm on this flight. Seat 1A. She pulled out her phone to show the digital boarding pass, but the battery icon flashed red and the screen went black. Dead. Great, Maya thought. Rookie mistake. "My phone just died," Maya said, keeping her voice calm. "But I have a physical copy in my bag." She dropped her duffel to the floor and unzipped it, rummaging through books and papers. Keely let out a loud, theatrical sigh, checking her watch. "Miss, you are holding up the line." There was no one behind Maya, not a single soul. "I'm the only one here," Maya pointed out, retrieving the printed boarding pass her father's assistant Beatrice had insisted she carry. Beatrice was old school. She didn't trust technology. "Thank you, Beatrice," Maya thought. Maya smoothed out the paper and placed it on the high counter. "Here. Maya Sterling, seat 1A. Keely didn't even look at the name. She stared at the paper as if it were contaminated waste. Then she looked at Maya's hoodie again. "There is no way," Keely muttered, mostly to herself, but loud enough to be heard. She picked up the boarding pass, holding it by the very corner with 2 fingers. She tapped her keyboard aggressively. "I don't see you in the system," Keely lied. The screen clearly showed Sterling Maya in gold letters indicating VVIP status. But Keely's bias was rewriting reality. She saw a young black girl in street clothes and decided that there had been a glitch, a mistake, a hacker. "Check again," Maya said, her tone hardening slightly. "I'm definitely on that flight. Look." Keely leaned over the podium, her voice dropping to a harsh whisper. "I don't know how you printed this fake pass. Maybe you have a friend in ticketing, or maybe you're just delusional, but we don't let non-revenue standbys or upgrade scammers into the first-class cabin on my flight. We have high-profile clients today. Senators, tech moguls." She looked pointedly at Maya's scuffed sneakers. "People who don't want to smell fast food." Maya stiffened. "I don't smell like fast food. And this isn't a fake pass." "It's invalid," Keely declared. "Scan it," Maya challenged. Keely narrowed her eyes. It was a duel now. She grabbed the scanner gun and aimed it at the barcode on the paper, fully expecting it to error out. Beep. A green light flashed on the console. "Seat 1A. Confirmed." For a second, Keely froze. The machine had accepted it. But Keely Fox did not accept defeat. Her ego was too large to fit in the overhead bin. She convinced herself it was a system error, a computer glitch. There was no way this girl could afford a $12,000 ticket. "Machine error," Keely announced loudly, addressing the few people now gathering behind Maya. "Technical difficulties, folks. Just a moment while I clear the queue." She looked back at Maya with a smirk that could curdle milk. "The system is malfunctioning. It happens when people try to use fraudulent codes." "So, it beeped green," Maya said, her patience fraying. "It's valid. You're just profiling me." "I am doing my job," Keely snapped, "and my job is to ensure the safety and comfort of our premium passengers. You are clearly agitated. That's a security risk." At that moment, a man walked up behind Maya. He was the archetype of who Keely wanted to serve. Tall, wearing a bespoke navy suit, carrying a Toomey briefcase, and checking a Rolex Submariner. "Is there a problem here?" the man asked. His voice was rich and impatient. Keely's face instantly transformed. The snarl vanished, replaced by a beaming, flirtatious smile. "Oh, Mr. Carmichael, so good to see you again. My apologies. We just have a situation with a passenger attempting to board with invalid credentials." Mr. Carmichael Preston, according to the luggage tag, looked down at Maya. He sneered. "Well, can she move? I have a pre-flight conference call." "Of course, Mr. Carmichael," Keely cooed. She turned back to Maya, her eyes dead and cold. "Step aside," Keely ordered. "Security will deal with you." "I'm not moving," Maya said, grounding her feet. "I paid for this seat. Well, My family did. It's my seat. Keely's patience snapped. She wasn't just going to deny Maya. She was going to destroy her. The tension at Gate 42 was thick enough to choke on. A small crowd had gathered, watching the spectacle. Most were silent, looking at their phones, avoiding eye contact. A few were filming. Maya looked at Keely. You are making a massive mistake. I'm asking you politely to scan the ticket again and let me board. And I'm telling you, Keely spat, her voice rising so everyone could hear, that Aerolux has standards. We don't just let anyone wander into the front of the plane because they printed a piece of paper at the library. Keely looked at Preston Carmichael, seeking an ally. Can you believe the audacity? Preston chuckled, shaking his head. Unbelievable. Honey, take the hint. Go back to row 45, or the bus station. Maya ignored him. She focused entirely on the flight attendant. My name is Maya Sterling. Does that name ring a bell to you? Keely laughed. It was a harsh, barking sound. Sterling, like the owner. Oh, honey, please. I've heard every lie in the book. Do you know who my father is? Is the oldest trick in the industry. If you were a Sterling, you wouldn't be dressed like that. And you wouldn't be standing here arguing with me. You'd be on a private jet. My father believes in commercial travel to understand the customer experience, Maya said calmly. Something you clearly don't understand. That struck a nerve. Keely's face flushed red beneath her foundation. That is enough, Keely shouted. She snatched the paper boarding pass from the counter where Maya had left it. This, Keely said, holding the document up like a piece of evidence in a murder trial, is trash. Maya's eyes went wide. Don't, Keely maintained intense eye contact with Maya. A cruel, triumphant smirk curled her lips. With deliberate slowness, she placed her hands on either side of the boarding pass. Right. The sound was shockingly loud in the quiet gate area. Keely tore the ticket straight down the middle, right through the barcode, right through the name Sterling. She didn't stop there. She put the halves together and tore them again. And again. Maya stood frozen. She wasn't scared. She was in shock at the sheer unprofessionalism. She had grown up watching her father build this company on principles of respect and service. Seeing this woman desecrate those values in real time was surreal. Keely took the handful of confetti, which used to be a first-class transatlantic ticket, and tossed it into the air toward Maya. The pieces fluttered down, landing on Maya's grey hoodie and the red carpet. Oops, Keely said, her voice dripping with mock innocence. Looks like your ticket is gone. No ticket, no flight. You just destroyed my property, Maya whispered. I disposed of litter, Keely corrected. She turned her attention to Preston Carmichael, flashing that blinding fake smile again. Mr. Carmichael, I am so sorry for the delay. Please step right through. We have a glass of Dom Perignon waiting for you in 1A. Maya blinked. 1A. That's my seat. Not anymore, Keely said breezily. It was open in the system since I voided your fraudulent transaction, and Mr. Carmichael is a diamond member. I just upgraded him. Complimentary. Preston Carmichael looked at Maya, laughed, and stepped over the torn pieces of her ticket. Tough break, kid. Maybe next time. He scanned his phone. The machine beeped green and he strolled down the jet bridge, whistling. Maya stood alone on the red carpet, the white scraps of paper surrounding her feet like snow. Now, Keely said, leaning over the podium, her face close to Maya's. You have two choices. You can go stand in the back of the economy line and wait to see if there's an open middle seat near the toilets. I might let you on if you behave. Or you can call security, and I can have you banned from the airline permanently for harassment. Which will it be? Maya looked down at the torn paper. She looked at the closed door of the jet bridge where her seat had just walked away. Then she looked at Keely. A strange calmness settled over Maya. The exhaustion evaporated, replaced by a cold, sharp clarity. She reached into her pocket and pulled out her dead phone. "I need to make a call," Maya said quietly. "Use the payphones by the restrooms." Keely dismissed her, turning back to her computer. "Next in line for first class, please." Maya didn't move toward the restrooms. She walked over to a nearby waiting chair, sat down and reached into her bag for her portable charger power bank. She plugged it in. The Apple logo appeared on the screen. She wasn't calling customer service. She wasn't calling the police. She scrolled through her contacts until she found the one labeled Dad Personal. She watched Keely greeting the next wealthy passenger, bowing and scraping, acting the perfect servant. Keely had no idea that the girl in the hoodie was about to bring the entire sky down on her head. Maya pressed call. "Hi, Daddy," Maya said when the voice answered on the second ring. "I'm at JFK. We have a problem, a really big problem." "Daddy, I'm at JFK. We have a problem." On the other end of the line, sitting in a glass-walled office in Chicago, overlooking Lake Michigan, Reginald Sterling paused. He was in the middle of reviewing the quarterly acquisition reports for a new European hub, but the tone in his daughter's voice stopped him cold. It wasn't fear Maya didn't scare easily. It was resignation. It was the sound of someone who had tried to do things the right way and had been punished for it. "Are you hurt?" Reginald asked, his voice dropping an octave. The room full of executives fell silent instantly. When the boss lowered his voice, you listened. "No, not physically," Maya said, eyeing Keely, who was now aggressively typing on her keyboard, occasionally shooting venomous glances in Maya's direction. "But I've been denied boarding. My ticket was destroyed, physically ripped up in front of everyone, and my seat was given to a Mr. Carmichael." Reginald was silent for 3 seconds. "Someone ripped up a first-class ticket." "My daughter's ticket. She thinks it's fake," Maya whispered, shielding the phone as a couple walked by, staring at her. "She thinks I'm a fraud. She profiled me, Dad. The hoodie, the hair. She didn't even check the manifest properly." "Put her on the phone," Reginald said. The calm in his voice was terrifying. It was the calm of the ocean before a tsunami. "She won't talk to you," Maya said. "She just called security. I think she's trying to have me arrested." At the podium, Keely hung up the landline phone with a satisfied clack. She smoothed her skirt, grabbed the microphone for the PA system, and cleared her throat. Her voice boomed through the gate area, echoing off the high ceilings. "Ladies and gentlemen waiting for Flight 882 to London, we apologize for the delay in boarding. We are currently dealing with a security breach involving a disruptive passenger. Please remain patient while we ensure the cabin is safe for our premium travelers." Every head turned. 200 pairs of eyes locked onto Maya. It was a masterclass in public humiliation. Keely hadn't just called security. She had branded Maya a threat. She had weaponized the annoyance of tired travelers against a 20-year-old girl. "Look at her," a woman in the front row of the economy seating whispered loudly. "She looks like she's on drugs or something. Why doesn't she just leave?" "Probably trying to sneak on," a man muttered. "Kids these days have no respect." Maya felt her face burn. She squeezed her phone. "Dad, they're staring at me. She just announced to the whole gate that I'm a security risk." "Stay right there, Maya," Reginald commanded. "Do not move. Do not leave that gate. I am calling the station manager directly. And Maya..." "Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm fixing this. Now." The line went dead. Maya put the phone down, her hand trembling slightly. She looked up to find Keely standing directly over her. "I thought I told you to leave," Keely sneered. She had come out from behind the podium to loom over Maya. "Calling your boyfriend to come pick you up. Make sure he brings bail money." "I was calling my father," Maya said, her voice steady, despite the pounding in her chest. "Oh," Keely made a pouty face. "Does Daddy know his little girl is a liar?" "You're going to regret this," Maya said softly. "I promise you, Keely, you are going to regret this in about 5 minutes. Keely laughed. "The only thing I regret is that security is taking so long." As if on cue, the heavy doors near the TSA checkpoint swung open. 2 Port Authority police officers, hands resting on their belts, marched down the concourse. They looked serious. They looked ready for a fight. Keely's eyes lit up. She waved them over frantically. "Officers over here." "This is the one?" The crowd parted like the Red Sea. Maya remained seated, clutching her dead phone and the battery pack looking small and defenseless against the approaching authority. But inside the steel of the Sterling bloodline was hardening. She didn't run. She didn't cry. She waited. The 2 officers, Officer Miller and Officer Davis, approached the seating area. Miller was older, weary-looking, while Davis was young, and clearly eager for some action. "What seems to be the problem here, ma'am?" Officer Miller asked Keely, though his eyes were on Maya. Keely launched into her performance. She pointed a shaking finger at Maya. "This individual attempted to breach the first-class cabin with a fraudulent boarding pass. When I caught her, she became belligerent. She refused to leave the secure area she's been harassing other passengers, and she threatened me." "I did not," Maya said, standing up slowly. She kept her hands visible. "I had a valid ticket. She ripped it up. You can see the pieces on the floor over there." Officer Davis stepped forward, invading Maya's personal space. "Ma'am, I need to see your ID and boarding pass." "I don't have the boarding pass," Maya said, gesturing to the confetti on the red carpet. "Because she destroyed it." "So you have no proof of travel?" Davis asked, his hand hovering near his handcuffs. "My ID is in my bag," Maya said, moving to reach for it. "Don't reach," Davis barked, putting a hand on her shoulder to stop her. "Keep your hands where I can see them." "Hey," a voice shouted from the crowd. It was a young guy with a camera filming. "She didn't do anything." That flight attendant ripped her ticket up. "I got it on video." "Back up," Officer Miller warned the cameraman. "Everyone back up." Keely smirked. "See, she's inciting a riot. She needs to be removed immediately. We have a flight to board." Officer Miller looked at Maya. "Miss, you're coming with us. We can sort this out at the precinct. You are trespassing." "I'm not trespassing," Maya said, her voice rising. "I'm a customer. Check the computer. If she scans my passport, it will show up." "I already checked," Keely lied smoothly. "She is not in the system. She is a ghost." Officer Miller sighed. He grabbed Maya's arm. "Let's go, miss. Don't make us drag you." "Get your hands off me." Maya pulled her arm back. "Resisting," Davis shouted. He grabbed her other arm and twisted it behind her back. Maya winced in pain. The cold metal of handcuffs clicked around her left wrist. "Stop," Maya cried out. "You are making a mistake. That is enough." The voice didn't come from the police. It came from the jet bridge. The door to the plane flew open with a bang. Standing there was Captain James O'Malley, a 4-stripe veteran pilot with 30 years of experience. He was wearing his hat and his face was pale as a sheet. "Unhand that passenger immediately," Captain O'Malley roared, rushing down the ramp. Keely turned, confused. "Captain, it's okay, security is handling the disturbance, so we can push back. I know we're running a few minutes late." "Quiet," O'Malley snapped at her. He didn't even look at her. He looked at the police officers. "Officers, release her. Now!" Officer Davis paused, holding the handcuff that was half-latched. "Captain, this woman is a security risk," the gate agent stated. "The gate agent is an idiot," O'Malley shouted, shocking the entire terminal. "Do you know who is on the sat phone in the cockpit right now? Do you know who is holding this aircraft on the ground?" Keely's smile faltered. "Captain, what are you talking about? It's just some girl with a fake ticket." "A fake ticket." O'Malley stepped over the velvet rope, ignoring the protocols. He walked right up to Maya, who was rubbing her wrist where the officer had grabbed her. The captain, a man who commanded massive Boeings and hundreds of lives, took his hat off. He bowed his head slightly to the girl in the grey hoodie. "Miss Sterling," the captain said, his voice trembling slightly. "I am deeply, deeply sorry. I received the call from headquarters just seconds ago." The silence in Terminal 4 was absolute. You could hear a pin drop. Keely's face went slack. "Sterling," she whispered. Maya looked at the captain. She straightened her hoodie. "Thank you, Captain O'Malley. My father said he knows you." "Yes, ma'am. I've flown him for 10 years, O'Malley said. He turned to the police officers. "This is Maya Sterling, the daughter of Reginald Sterling." He pointed a finger at the ceiling encompassing the terminal, the plane, and the logo on the wall. "The man who owns this airline, the man who signs my paycheck, and yours." He pointed at Keely. Officer Miller's eyes went wide. He immediately let go of Maya's arm and took a step back. "The owner... Oh, God," Officer Davis muttered quickly, unclipping the handcuff from her wrist. "Ma'am, we were told." They both looked at Keely. Keely felt the blood drain from her entire body. Her stomach dropped through the floor. The world started to spin. Sterling. The name on the torn paper, the name she had laughed at. "No," Keely stammered, backing up until she hit the podium. That's impossible." She looked. She was wearing sweats. She can wear whatever she damn well pleases," a new voice boomed. Running down the terminal corridor, tie flapping over his shoulder, sweating profusely, was Mr. Henderson, the JFK station manager for Aerolux. He was a man who usually never left his air-conditioned office. He had sprinted the entire length of Concourse B. He skidded to a halt in front of the group, gasping for air. He looked at Maya, then at the captain, and finally, with eyes full of terror and rage at Keely. "What?" Henderson wheezed, pointing a shaking finger at Keely. "Have you done, Mr. Henderson?" Keely's voice was a high-pitched squeak. I followed protocol. She looked suspicious. You thought, Henderson roared. "Mr. Sterling is on the line. He is watching the security feed from the gate live. He just saw you tear up his daughter's ticket." Keely looked up at the black dome of the security camera mounted above the gate. The red light was blinking steady and unblinking. It felt like the eye of a dragon staring directly at her. "He wants to speak to you," Henderson said, extending his cell phone toward Keely. "Now?" Keely's hands shook so badly she could barely take the phone. The crowd was no longer whispering. They were watching the execution. "Hello," Keely whispered into the phone. The voice on the other end was not shouting. It was icy precise and loud enough that Maya could hear it from where she stood. "This is Reginald Sterling," the voice said. "I want you to look at my daughter." Keely looked at Maya. Maya stood tall, her chin up, her expression unreadable. "I'm looking," Keely choked out. "Good," Reginald said. "Now apologize, and then hand the phone to the police officer next to you. I have instructions for him regarding theft and destruction of private property." Keely felt the tears welling up. "Mr. Sterling, please, I didn't know. Apologize." Reginald's voice cracked like a whip. "I'm sorry," Keely sobbed, looking at Maya. "I'm so sorry, Miss Sterling. I judged you. I was wrong. Please. I have a mortgage. I have kids." Maya looked at the woman who just moments ago had mocked her for being poor, who had treated her like garbage because of the color of her skin and the cut of her clothes. "You ripped up my ticket," Maya said calmly, "and you gave my seat away." Maya turned to the captain. "Captain who is in seat 1A. "A Mr. Preston Carmichael," the captain said with a scowl. "Is the door open?" Maya asked. "For you, Miss Sterling, the door is always open," the captain said. Maya turned to the station manager. "Mr. Henderson, I want to board, but I can't. Someone is in my seat." Mr. Henderson straightened his tie. A vicious bureaucratic efficiency took over. He wanted to save his own skin, and the best way to do that was to destroy the person who caused this mess, and to fix the problem. "Captain," Henderson said, "come with me. We are going to deboard Mr. Carmichael." "And her?" Officer Miller asked, pointing at Keely, who was still holding the phone, weeping. Maya took the phone gently from Keely's hand. "Thanks, Dad. I'll take it from here." She hung up. "Officer," Maya said, looking at the two policemen. "This woman destroyed a ticket valued at $12,000. She also filed a false police report, claiming I was violent, which, she pointed to the guy filming, is clearly a lie. Do your job." As Maya turned to walk toward the jet bridge, flanked by the captain and the station manager, she heard the sound she had been waiting for. Click, click. It wasn't the sound of her handcuffs. It was the sound of cuffs locking around Keely's wrists. "Keely Fox," Officer Miller said, his voice void of sympathy. "You are under arrest for destruction of property and filing a false report." But the drama wasn't over. Maya still had one more person to deal with. The man in seat 1A. The walk down the jet bridge felt like a transition between dimensions. Behind Maya lay the chaos of the terminal. The shouting, the flashing cameras, and the sobbing former flight attendant now in police custody. Ahead lay the hushed, pressurized sanctuary of the aircraft. But the sanctuary was currently occupied by a usurper. Captain O'Malley led the way, his shoulders set in a line of grim determination. Behind him was Mr. Henderson, the station manager, who was wiping sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief. Maya brought up the rear. She didn't swagger. She didn't smirk. She just walked with the heavy, tired gait of someone who had been forced to fight a war she didn't start. They stepped onto the plane. The air smelled of recycled oxygen, expensive leather, and fresh brewing coffee. In seat 1A, Preston Carmichael was the picture of unbothered arrogance. He had already reclined the seat slightly. His suit jacket was hung neatly in the closet. He was sipping a flute of Krug Grande Cuvée and reading the Wall Street Journal on his tablet. He looked like a king on his throne. He didn't even look up when the captain approached. "Sir," Captain O'Malley said, his voice firm but professional. Preston waved a hand dismissively, without looking up from his screen. "If this is about the pre-departure refill, keep it coming. And tell the purser I want the steak medium rare, not rubbery like last time." "Mr. Carmichael," the captain said louder this time, "I need you to look at me." Preston sighed, a long, exaggerated exhalation of annoyance. He lowered the tablet. What is there a delay if we're sitting on the tarmac for an hour? I'm going to need another glass. Then he saw the entourage. He saw the captain. He saw the sweating station manager. And then, standing behind them, he saw the girl in the grey hoodie. Preston let out a short, incredulous laugh. You have got to be kidding me. You brought the stowaway onto the plane. What is this, a charity tour? Mr. Carmichael. Mr. Henderson stepped forward, trying to exert authority. There has been a misunderstanding regarding the seating assignments. The seat you are currently occupying was assigned to this young woman. It was cancelled in error by a staff member who has since been relieved of duty. Preston's eyes narrowed. Relieved of duty. That shark of a woman at the gate. Good. She was annoying. But she gave me this seat. Possession is 9/10 of the law, pal. I'm settled. My bags are up. He pointed to the overhead bin. We have reaccommodated you, Henderson said quickly. We have a lovely seat for you in row 12. Comfort plus. Extra leg room. The silence that followed was deafening. Row 12. Preston repeated the number as if it were a contagious disease. You want me to move from international first class to comfort plus for her? He gestured a thumb at Maya. Look at her. She looks like she's here to clean the plane, not fly in it. Maya stepped past the station manager. She was done with proxies. I'm not here to clean the plane, Maya said, her voice quiet, but carrying through the small cabin. I'm here to fly home, in the seat my father paid for. Your father? Preston scoffed. What did he sell, a few used cars? Listen, sweetie, I'm a Diamond Medallion member. I spend $200,000 a year with this airline. I practically own this plane. Maya couldn't help it. A small, dry smile touched her lips. Actually, Maya said, you don't. Captain O'Malley stepped in. His patience evaporated. Mr. Carmichael, let me be crystal clear. The young woman standing before you is Maya Sterling. Her father is Reginald Sterling. He owns Aerolux. He owns the plane. He owns the seat you are sitting in. And right now he is on the phone with the tower, effectively grounding this flight until you are removed from his daughter's seat. Preston frozen. The glass of champagne hovered halfway to his mouth. He looked at the captain, looking for the lie. He saw none. He looked at Henderson, who nodded vigorously. Then he looked at Maya. He really looked at her this time. He looked past the hoodie and saw the specific, intelligent set of her eyes, eyes that were currently featured on the cover of Forbes magazine, in the seat pocket in front of him, in a feature about the next generation of business leaders. His face turned a shade of puce that matched the carpet. Preston stammered. I didn't know. Ignorance is not an excuse for being a jerk, Maya said. But, look. Preston tried to pivot his voice, taking on a desperate, wheedling tone. Miss Sterling, surely we can work something out. I have a very important meeting in London. My back is terrible. I really need the lie-flat seat. I'm happy to write you a check right now. $5,000. For your trouble. I don't want your money, Maya said. I want my seat. 10,000, Preston pressed. Cash. Sir, Captain O'Malley barked. You are delaying a transatlantic flight. You have two choices. Choice A. You gather your belongings, move to seat 12B, and we depart. Choice B, you refuse. I declare you a disruptive passenger, and the Port Authority officers, waiting on the jet bridge, come in here and drag you off. In that scenario, you don't go to London. You go to jail. Preston looked at the door. He could see the blue uniforms of Officers Miller and Davis waiting in the hallway. He looked around the cabin. The other first-class passengers were staring. A woman in 2A was hiding a smile behind her hand. Preston Carmichael, the man who thought he ruled the world, realized he had been outranked. "Fine," he spat. He slammed the champagne glass down on the tray table so hard the stem snapped, spilling gold liquid over the white linen. "I'm leaving," Preston snarled. He stood up, ripping his jacket from the hanger. He grabbed his briefcase. "My bag is in the bin," he barked at Henderson. "Get it." "You can get it yourself," Maya said. Preston glared at her with pure hatred. He reached up, yanked his Toomey bag down, and nearly hit a flight attendant who had rushed over to clean the spill. He marched down the aisle, shoving past Maya. As he passed her, he leaned in. "You little rich brat. You think you're special." "No," Maya said, meeting his eyes. "I think I'm a customer. You should try being a decent one sometime." He stormed out of the first-class cabin, past the curtain, and into the humiliating walk toward row 12, where the overhead bins were already full and the middle seat was waiting. The atmosphere in the first-class cabin shifted the moment Preston disappeared behind the curtain. It was as if a pressure valve had been released. The new flight attendant, a young woman named Jennifer, looked terrified. Her hands were shaking as she picked up the broken glass and the champagne-soaked tablecloth. She was clearly the junior crew member likely pulled from the economy galley to replace Keeley at the last second. "Miss Sterling," Jennifer stammered, avoiding eye contact. "I am so sorry about the mess. I'll have this cleaned in 30 seconds. Please take seat 1B while I fix 1A. Can I get you anything? Water, champagne, caviar?" Maya looked at Jennifer. The girl looked like she was about to faint. She was probably thinking that one wrong move would end her career just like it had for Keeley. "Jennifer Wright?" Maya asked gently. Jennifer froze. "Yes, ma'am." "Breathe," Maya said. She dropped her heavy duffel bag on the floor. "I'm not going to fire you. I'm not going to yell at you. I just want to sit down." "Right. Yes, of course." Jennifer frantically wiped the tray table. Captain O'Malley came out of the cockpit one last time before pushback. He stood in front of Maya. "Miss Sterling," he said softly, "I want to personally apologize again on behalf of the crew. What happened at the gate was unacceptable. I've already filed a report with HR and operations." "Thanks, Captain," Maya said finally, sinking into the plush leather of seat 1B while Jennifer finished with 1A. Can we go? I really just want to sleep." "We are pushing back in 2 minutes," O'Malley promised. "I'll make up the time in the air. We'll have you in London ahead of schedule." He returned to the cockpit. The door clicked locked. Maya moved over to seat 1A once it was pristine again. She buckled her belt. She didn't take off her hoodie. She didn't ask for a blanket. She just stared out the window at the rainy tarmac of JFK. Her phone buzzed. She had plugged it into the seat's USB port. It was a text from her father. "Dad, Beatrice tells me you're on board." "You okay?" Maya typed back slowly. "Maya, I'm okay. Just tired." "It was ugly, Dad." "Dad, I saw the video. Someone sent it to PR. It's already trending. Flight attendant from hell versus secret CEO daughter." Maya groaned audibly. Of course it was trending. Dad Keeley Fox has been terminated effective immediately, pending legal action for the damage to your property, and I'm instituting a mandatory retraining program for all ground staff starting Monday. No one gets treated like that on my airline. No one. Maya looked at the text. It was justice, sure. But it felt heavy. She looked around the cabin. The other passengers were stealing glances at her. They weren't looking at her with annoyance anymore. They were looking at her with fear and awe. She was the girl who could snap her fingers and make people disappear. She hated it. "Excuse me, Miss Sterling." Maya looked up. It was Jennifer holding a silver tray with a warm towel and a glass of sparkling water. "We're about to take off," Jennifer said, her voice trembling slightly. "But I wanted to bring you this, and, Jennifer hesitated. She looked around to make sure the other passengers weren't listening. "I just wanted to say, thank you," Jennifer whispered. Maya frowned. "Thank you for what?" "Keely," Jennifer said, her voice dropping to a hush. She's been the purser on this route for 3 years. She made my life a living hell. She steals tips. She yells at us in the galley. She makes the junior staff cry on almost every flight. We reported her a dozen times, but she always talked her way out of it. She was untouchable. Jennifer looked at the empty jet bridge where Keely had been led away in cuffs. "Nobody ever stood up to her," Jennifer said, "until you. So, thank you." Maya softened. She saw the relief in the young woman's eyes. It wasn't just about Maya being a Karen or a billionaire's brat. By standing her ground, she had inadvertently popped a blister that had been festering in the company for years. "You're welcome, Jennifer," Maya said, taking the water. "But do me a favor. Anything, ma'am. Stop shaking." Maya smiled. "And treat me like a normal passenger. If I fall asleep and drool, just throw a blanket over me. Don't wake me up for the meal service." Jennifer let out a breath she seemed to have been holding for 20 minutes. She smiled back, a real smile this time. "Yes, Miss Sterling. Understood." As the plane began to taxi, the massive engines roaring to life, Maya leaned her head against the window. She watched the lights of New York City drift by. She thought about the power dynamics of the world, how a piece of paper, a ticket, could define your worth, how a hoodie could make you a suspect, and a last name could make you a god. It was broken. The whole system was broken. Well, Maya thought, closing her eyes as the G-force of the takeoff pressed her into the seat. At least I can fix this airline. One bad apple at a time. From the back of the plane, in the uncomfortable confines of row 12, Preston Carmichael was trying to recline his seat, but the mechanism was jammed. He kicked the seat in front of him in frustration. "Sir." A flight attendant, a large man named Dave, loomed over him. "Stop kicking the seat, or I'll zip-tie you to the armrests. We heard about what you did up front. One more peep, and you're banned for life." Preston sank down into his seat, defeated. High above the clouds, Maya Sterling finally fell asleep. The descent into London Heathrow was smooth, the grey dawn of the English morning breaking over the wings. For Maya, the 7-hour flight had been a peaceful reprieve. For Preston Carmichael, back in seat 12B, it had been a purgatory of cramped knees, a crying baby in 13A, and the distinct lack of warm cookies. When the seatbelt sign pinged off at the gate, the curtains between first class and economy remained drawn. Maya was the first to deplane, grabbing her battered leather duffel. Waiting for her at the end of the jet bridge was not just a ground agent, but the director of Aerolux UK operations. A woman named Sarah Jenkins, flanked by 2 security officers. "Miss Sterling," Sarah said, extending a hand. "Welcome to London. Your father has been in touch. We have a car waiting to take you directly to the hotel." "Thank you, Sarah," Maya said. She paused. "Is the passenger from 12B coming off soon?" "We held the economy cabin," Sarah noted professionally. Standard procedure when VIPs deplane. Let him off, Maya said. I want him to see me. A moment later, the stream of passengers began. Preston Carmichael stumbled out, looking haggard. His suit was wrinkled, his tie was crooked, and he looked like he hadn't slept a wink. He saw Maya standing there, flanked by executives looking fresh and composed. He stopped. He opened his mouth to say something, maybe an insult, maybe an apology, but Sarah Jenkins stepped forward. Mr. Carmichael, she asked. Yes, he croaked. We have been informed that your return ticket has been cancelled, she said pleasantly. Aerolux has placed you on our no-fly list effective immediately. You will need to find an alternative carrier for your journey home. Preston's jaw dropped. You can't do that. I have rights. I'm a platinum. You were a disruptive passenger who verbally abused a guest of the owner. Sarah cut him off. We have refunded the unused portion of your ticket to your card. Have a nice stay in London. Maya didn't say a word. She just adjusted her backpack, gave Preston a small, pitying nod, and walked away toward the VIP immigration channel. But the karma wasn't done yet. The universe had one final twist in store for Preston Carmichael. Preston had flown to London for one reason: the pitch of his life. He was the CEO of a mid-sized tech logistics firm, Logitech, and his company was bleeding money. He needed a bailout. He needed an acquisition, and the only company with pockets deep enough to save him was Sterling Global Ventures. He had never met the board of Sterling Global. He had only dealt with lower-level acquisitions managers. This meeting was his Hail Mary. He adjusted his tie in the reflection of the glass skyscraper in Canary Wharf. He looked tired, but he tried to put on his game face. Focus, Preston, he told himself. Charm them. Dazzle them. He was ushered into the penthouse boardroom. The view was spectacular, overlooking the Thames. Sitting at the far end of the long mahogany table was an older man with silver hair and a terrifyingly sharp suit, Reginald Sterling. Preston felt a flicker of recognition at the name, but his ego pushed it down. Sterling. Common name. Mr. Carmichael, Reginald said, not standing up. Please, sit. Mr. Sterling, Preston beamed, putting on his best fake smile, the same one he used on flight attendants, right before treating them like dirt. It is an absolute honor. I've admired your business acumen for decades. Have you? Reginald asked, his voice flat. Oh, absolutely. Preston opened his briefcase. I think you'll find Logitech aligns perfectly with your portfolio. We value efficiency, class, and excellence. Excellence, Reginald repeated. Interesting word. I value character. Agreed. Preston nodded vigorously. Character is everything. Glad you think so, Reginald said. I'd like to introduce you to the head of our Youth Outreach and Ethics Division. She has the final veto on all new acquisitions. The door behind Preston opened. Sorry I'm late, a voice said. Traffic on the M4 was a nightmare. Preston froze. He knew that voice. He turned around slowly. Walking into the room wearing a sharp black blazer over a grey hoodie holding a Starbucks cup was Maya. She stopped when she saw him. She didn't look surprised. She looked amused. Oh, Maya said, taking the seat next to her father. It's you. Preston looked from Maya to Reginald. The realization hit him like a freight train. Sterling. Reginald Sterling. Maya Sterling. The owner of the airline. The girl in the hoodie. You? Preston whispered. You're the board member. I'm the heir. Maya corrected him. She took a sip of her coffee. And Daddy. This is the man I texted you about. The one who told me I belonged in the back of the bus. Or, well, the plane. Reginald Sterling closed the folder in front of him. The sound was like a gunshot in the quiet room. "Mr. Carmichael," Reginald said, standing up. "My daughter has an excellent intuition for people. She told me you were arrogant, rude, and dismissive of those you deem beneath you." It was a stressful day," Preston stammered, sweat beading on his forehead. I wasn't myself." "On the contrary," Maya said softly. "I think you were exactly yourself. You showed me exactly who you are when you think no one powerful is watching." "We don't do business with men like you," Reginald said coldly. "The deal is off. Sterling Global will not be acquiring Logitech." "Please." Preston begged, his dignity gone. "My company. We'll go bankrupt without this capital. I have employees. Then you should have thought about that before you treated a young woman like garbage," Reginald said. "Security will escort you out." 2 weeks later, the story of the Gate 42 incident had circulated the globe. The video of Keely ripping the ticket had 40 million views. Keely Fox was charged with criminal mischief and destruction of property. She pleaded guilty to avoid jail time, but her career in aviation was over. She was blacklisted from every airline, major and minor. She ended up moving back to her hometown, working the register at a grocery store, where every customer was a reminder that she was there to serve, not to judge. Preston Carmichael's company filed for Chapter 11, bankruptcy 3 months later. His reputation as a toxic leader, combined with the failed merger, made him a pariah in the business world. He lost his penthouse, his car, and his diamond medallion status. But the biggest change happened at Aerolux. Maya Sterling didn't just go back to college. She worked with her father to launch the Sterling Standard, a mandatory training program for all 50,000 employees. It focused on unconscious bias empathy and the simple rule that every passenger, whether in seat 1A or 45E, deserved dignity. Maya still traveled in sweatpants. She still wore her hair in a messy bun. But now, when she walked up to a gate, she didn't need to say a word. The world knew who she was. And more importantly, she knew who she was. She wasn't just a billionaire's daughter. She was the girl who grounded the untouchables, proving that in the end, kindness is the only currency that really matters. And that is how a ripped ticket and a judgmental attitude cost a flight attendant her career and a CEO his entire company. It's a brutal reminder that character isn't defined by the price of your suit or the class of your seat, but by how you treat people who can do absolutely nothing for you. Keely and Preston learned the hard way that when you try to tear someone else down, you usually end up burying yourself under the wreckage. What would you have done if you were in Maya's shoes? Would you have stayed calm, or would you have lost it? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story of instant karma and justice served cold, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Thanks for watching, and remember, be kind. You never know who you're talking to.